Here it is, folks, the final, definitive, irrefutable statement from such a paragon of journalistic integrity. I know I say that a lot. I don't care. All these mainstream websites, or should be lamestream websites. It's pathetic. According to CBR.com, the Star Wars expanded universe is dead. Time to accept it. Well, nifty, funny, little interesting thing. We don't have to. That's a cool thing, because the books are still there. We don't have to accept the new garbage that's being put out. We don't have to accept that the expanded universe is gone, because the books live on. So many Star Wars fans have these books in their collection. They're beloved. Some of them probably not so good, but hey, they are still there. They're not going anywhere. But according to CBR, Star Wars Expanded Universe was beloved by fans. See, was is past tense. See, that's is. Star Wars extended. I thought it was expanded. Oh well. Was beloved? No, it is beloved by fans, but it's long dead. No, the only way for it to be long dead is if the books no longer exist, and they still do. And the stories will live on, always beloved by the fans, and always live on in the books. It's time for fans to accept the EU is dead and embrace new Star Wars stories. Again, no, they don't have to. Call these fans, the fandom menace. Yeah, use whatever damn word you want to. But that's the nifty thing about stories, new stories in this. The longtime fans don't have to accept it. They don't have to watch. They don't have to read. They don't have to follow any of the new things. I know quite a few Star Wars fans in my personal life and online who some like the new material, some despise it, and some are rather ambivalent about it. And it's the ambivalence that is really the bad thing, because the less people care, then the worse it gets. Because if people like my moronic self are talking about Star Wars, it means we still care about Star Wars. The moment these channels stop talking, they don't care. They're not interested. They're not interested if Kathleen Kennedy stays or goes. Should I stay or should I? Anyway, should she stay or should she go now? They don't care. They're not going to talk about it because they feel like the Star Wars universe, the stories and everything in the future is unable to be saved. Let's see what the article says, because it's great. Star Wars is undoubtedly one of the most popular franchises in the world, not just in film and television, but through books, comics, and video games also. Star Wars universe expands through so many mediums. Well, you just named all three of them, pretty much. Music videos? Are there Star Wars music videos? We're not going to count the Christmas special. No, they're singing in it, but no. Let's forget about that. It can be hard to keep track of all the different stories. Yes, it is. Before Disney purchased Star Wars, the expanded universe was the home of all these stories. And unfortunately, Kathleen Kennedy ignored them, erased them, decanonized them because she's a... Anyway, see you next Tuesday. When Disney bought the franchise, the EU ended. No, the EU was murdered and buried in the backyard, or hung up to dry, only to be picked clean when they felt it was necessary to be bastardized and butchered. When Disney bought but many fans refuse to let it go because, again, they don't have to. I'm probably going to say that a lot in this video, so I do apologize. While there is nothing inherently wrong with holding on to stories that bring joy to fans, it becomes a problem when it acts as a barrier of entry to people trying to enjoy. How in the hell is someone's love and enjoyment of the stories that came before, how does that stop anyone from enjoying the stories yet to come? Can you explain that to me? This odd idea of gatekeeping fans out of a fandom. You cannot do that. You cannot gatekeep someone out of video games. You cannot gatekeep anyone out of tabletop role-playing games, out of movies, out of music. It is impossible. Okay? You cannot stop someone for enjoying a story, a video game, music. You can't. This idea that the lamestream media tries to talk about, oh, gatekeeping these fans, the fandom menace is just trying to gatekeep. It's like, no. The only gatekeeping involved is keeping the uncreative, narcissistic individuals out of the storytelling because they have no love, no passion for anything that came before it. Nothing else existed, and they want to take the franchise, whether it is Star Wars, Doctor Who, Star Trek, Indiana Jones, or any of these, He-Man, thank you, Kevin Smith, you twat, taking these beloved decades upon decades old franchises and changing them to suit their own personal ideologies, their own personal beliefs. And that's not what Star Wars is. A simple respect for the stories that came before it. The, I guess, mechanics and the lore that was established, just instead of changing that to suit your needs, respect it and move forward with it instead of absolutely changing. And all of a sudden we can heal with the Force. Sure, that was, I believe, that's probably not a good example because someone's going to correct me that there was Force healing either in a video game or a book that came before Disney. Gotcha. Back to the article because this just infuriates me. The old Star Wars EU, now referred to as Legends, began in 1978. Can you imagine taking something that was going for what, 30, 40 years? When did Disney buy it? In the early 2000s? 30 plus years, 3 decades, easily, and just flushing it down the toilet. That was a massive red flag to all the fans of the Star Wars franchise that Disney, Kathleen Kennedy, and the new Lucasfilm were not going to show any respect to what came before it. That should have been. It was a red flag. It was an indication to a lot of fans, quite a few fans, and some of them walked the fuck off. They left it. They left it behind. And slowly but surely, more and more fans realized the nonsense that was being put out by the new Lucasfilms and Kathleen Kennedy, and they walked away. Slowly, more and more fans are walking away and going back to the Legends storylines. 1978, when the first Star Wars novel came out. From that point onward, countless books, comics, and video games continued to expand the story started by George Lucas. These stories told the tales of Luke, Han, and Leia after the rebellion. They explored the years before the prequels and looked at everything in between, and they were fantastic. Or at least so I've heard. I have not read any of the books. My brother had started with Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which was supposed to be the immediate sequel to Return of the Jedi, I believe. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. I always wanted to read it, but never got around to it. At the time that my brother had it, I was way too young to, well, care. They explored the years before the prequels and looked at everything in between. Yes, we all know that. Everyone knows that. One of the most famous and beloved eras of Legends canon was the Old Republic. Yet in order for Disney to be able to tell any stories, the cancellation of the EU had to take place. Why? Explain that to me why. All they had to do, what they could have done, which probably would have been a better idea, is take those stories and adapt them into a movie or a TV show. But I'm sure there'll be some speculation on this, but it seems like they decided to cancel all the expanded universe so that they didn't want to adapt the books because then they would have to pay royalties. And little birdies out there talk about how much Disney loves to pay royalties. Marvel, comics, videos, movies, all those stuff. The studios just love to pay royalties and fees and all that other stuff. The death of the expanded universe was necessary and for the best. You know what? Opinions vary. Disney was obviously looking to tell new stories, and they could have done that without flushing everything else down the drain. In order to do that unencumbered, Disney needed to kill the let the past die. Kill it if you have to. Thank you, Kylo Ren. Thank you, Lucasfilms. If Disney had kept the EU intact, then it would have almost been impossible to find space. Why? It's a galaxy a long time ago and a galaxy long time ago, far, far away. How would it be impossible to find space? It wasn't impossible for all these authors to find space, all these comic books to find space in the expanded universe to tell their own stories, while tell new stories with new characters on new planets with new arcs for all kinds of characters in the expanded universe, and yet still respect what George Lucas set out, and even more than likely respect the other writers in the expanded universe, expand on their stories, pull a little bit from those novels and put it into their own and connect those stories in one way, shape, or form. But no, Disney, of course, Kathleen Kennedy said, it's not like Marvel superheroes. We don't have an expansive library of books and comic books to pull from because you're absolutely nonsensically full of shite. Just flushing it all down the toilets. Oh, no. No. Impossible to find space to tell new stories in Star Wars. Hope nobody heard that one. The company would have ended up either just adapting books, which is not a problem. People would have enjoyed that. Oh, wait. It's almost what they're doing right now. Adapting books. How can you say that in this article? I'm going to jump ahead to the next title. So, this article is complaining the company would have ended up either just adapting books and games or find small spaces to tell stories in. Okay, so let's scroll a little bit down to continues to borrow from the Legends canon. So, despite Disney canning the EU, the franchise has continued to borrow. No, it has continued to steal. I don't care. They own the rights. Yes, whatever. But they are stealing, cannibalizing writers who are far more talented than the majority of the writers at Disney, and taking those stories and replacing Luke Skywalker with Ahsoka, replacing Luke Skywalker with Mary Sue Palpatine. I don't care what her name is, Rey Palpatine. So you can't sit there and tell me that, oh, right here in one sentence, adapting the books or games, and then talk about they're borrowing from those books, from those games, and trying to weave it into their own story with their own characters, and trying to claim that, oh, look, we have new Star Wars stories. This is so full of nonsense. I'm sorry. It's infuriating to sit there and hear Kathleen Kennedy run her mouth that they didn't have any stories to pull from. They didn't have the books or the comics that Marvel had for their movies. When you had shelves, people responded to her nonsense with pictures of their libraries, of their bookshelves filled with Star Wars Expanded Universe books. But you're going to tell everyone, you're going to gaslight the fans and say that, no, none of this existed. And then at the same time, within, 10 years, 12 years? How long has it been since she made that moronic statement? Probably more. To borrow Heir to the Empire and just take the story, insert your own character that, or the Rise of the Jedi? They even mention it. Ahsoka in Dave Filoni's movie will even be adapting Heir to the Empire. And I have no doubt in my mind that it will be bastardized and just flat out wrong. I cannot wait. I'll be interested to see what fans of the original Heir to the Empire have to say about Disney and Dave Filoni's little adaptation, except it's going to have Ahsoka in it because can't have Luke Skywalker. You already butchered his character, made him into an absolute loser. While this has upset some Star Wars fans, others understand that this is what is best. A lot of people have different opinions on what is best for Star Wars. Quite a few people, more and more all the time, think that what is best for Star Wars and Lucasfilm is for Kathleen Kennedy to be gone. Non-stop rumors over many, many years, over and over, about Kathleen Kennedy. Oh, she's quitting, she's leaving, she's getting fired. What was the last one? If Indiana Jones tanks, Kathleen Kennedy is fired. And now, the latest one going around is that Kathleen Kennedy is not pursuing an option to renew her contract. So obviously that means she's getting fired, right? She's gone. Kathleen Kennedy's contract is up next year. No, it means that she's not pursuing it. It doesn't mean that Disney and Lucasfilm's not going to offer her a big fat check to stick around. So don't hold your breath that Kathleen Kennedy's going anywhere. Yes, I'm getting loud because I love Star Wars. I love everything. My brother had Bantha Tracks newsletter way back in the early 80s. I had the toys. I had all that stuff. I remember standing in line for Return of the Jedi. I have a passion for Star Wars. No, I did not read the expanded books. By the time more and more of those came out, I was more interested in more teenage activities, discovering lovely young ladies at the time as well. So, and I never went back to read them, and I probably should. I definitely should, because I do still enjoy collecting the classic Star Wars, pre-Disney Star Wars. I have no interest in supporting anything put out by Disney right now, although the Mandalorian Lego minifigure is pretty sexy, and I'm probably going to end up getting that. I'll get that on the secondhand market. Disney will have already gotten their money for it, so I'll pick that up on eBay, the secondhand market, secondary market. Can't pay somebody twice. Star Wars Expanded Universe. I'm going to finish this article off because I'm just too irritated. Star Wars Extended. Okay, somebody. Is it Extended Universe or Expanded Universe? Because I would think it would be expanded, because you expand everything. Extended sounds like it's just off to the side over here. I believe George Lucas canonized the EU. He said whatever they wrote, that's going to be part of the universe. He was respectful to the authors that had the love, had the passion for Star Wars, the same love and passion that he had, and allowed them to move forward with his creation. The EU is dead, and the fans need to finally accept it. Disney will continue to use whatever they want. Wow, this is a statement. Holy cow. Disney will continue to use whatever they want from the old stories, and that is absolutely for the best. Again, opinions vary, because you do not have the same quality of writers that the expanded universe has. I'm just going to keep calling it expanded. That's all I'm going to do. Timothy Zahn, my understanding is he is a fantastic author. I do not believe Dave Filoni will be able to do Heir to the Empire justice. That's my prediction. I look forward to see fans' reactions to it. But do you believe the expanded universe is dead simply because they don't want to write any more books in it? Just go out, go find yourself a brick and mortar bookstore. Go buy the books. Go get them secondhand. Because that's kind of a mixed bag. Because if you get them secondhand, the author doesn't get any money for it. But if you go to the bookstore, does the author get a percentage of those sales, but money still goes to Disney? Don't boycott whoever you want to. If you want to give Disney money for the things that you love, show them. I think that's a better idea. Put your money towards the things that you enjoy. If you enjoy the original trilogy, buy things from the original trilogy. If you think that Disney trilogy is a dumpster fire of shite, don't buy anything from that. Show them what sells, show them what doesn't. And maybe, just maybe, the investors will wake up and start doing something about it, because Disney's not. The CEO, Bob Iger's not going to do a damn thing about it. He doesn't care, as long as they're making money. So hit them with the wallet. Hit him in the wallet? Anyway, do you think the EU is dead? Do you think the fans need to just accept it and get over it? God, it sounds like a pretentious principle telling you just need to get over it. No, we don't. Yes, Disney is going to continue to cannibalize far more beloved stories than anything that they've put out so far. Yes, I'm sure people out there love Dave Filoni's work and all this other stuff, and that's fine. But a small percentage, we'll see. But let me know what you think in the comments. Leave a like, leave a dislike. I appreciate you making it this far. Fuck you, Disney. Star Wars EU is not dead. Keep reading it. Keep buying it. Keep loving it.